On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
Merry Christmas!
Ah, the Mirthmobile. I think we'll go with a little
Mixtape Monday.
Excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
next party on!
Party on, Wayne!
Party on, guys.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Mixtape Mondays. I know I've been away for a while. We had a different iteration of Mixtape Mondays last week, but I just wanted to let everybody know I am still alive.
He is. He's come out of hibernation. He saw his shadow. It's 6 more weeks of winter. I don't know.
Actually, wouldn't be
really
too
don't
bad
even
in
know what
San
I'm
Diego.
talking about. That's some kind of ground creature that in the
what's
East Coast.
What's this thing called? Winter? Winter? What is that?
It is chilly here in the of the Empire Studios, though. So I was joking last week that I think I need to get a ball warmer now.
Heater now. Now you need a space heater.
So it's not it's a little chilly out here. It's not uncomfortable yet, but it's going to get there because that's how it goes here at the Empire Studios. There's always some
very
level
small window of time where you're comfortable.
It's true.
Pretty soon you're going to be wearing the hat with the ear flaps, like a big parka.
With Rizzo the Rat in the Muppets Christmas Carol. That will be me.
Oh, and if anyone who's watching so far, and I'll get to the people we got in the chat here. If you can't already tell based on the intro, my coffee mug that I'm drinking my tea out of, and back there in the corner behind me, I'm a big fan of Christmas. So it's almost December. It's almost December, but Thanksgiving is over. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
No, it's legal now. It's technically legal now. Although, so I was going to put up the Christmas lights around the House of the Empire, and Mrs. of the Empire's like, "No, you still need to wait like 2 weeks." I'm like,
"Oh, no way!"
But honey, everybody else is putting theirs up. She's like, "Nope, not yet. It's too soon." So here I am.
I put my tree up, I think, like a week ago. Normally growing up, my family tradition was the day after Thanksgiving, we would go get the tree from the tree lot and put it up. But this year I was like, nope, I'm putting it up before Thanksgiving and nobody can stop me.
Well, the reason I like to get things down a little bit early, and this is just because I'm a little crazy, and those of you watching the show, you may not yet know that. I like to make sure that the Christmas lights all work before it's too late to get more Christmas lights, because there comes a certain point in the season where you cannot find anything, and it's just you out there fighting for the last ceramic bulb at Target, and it's not pretty.
You're knocking down old women and children to
get out of my way, you old timers! I have a bulb to get. And
to some degree, I did kind of run into that. I made the mistake of not plugging my lights in before wrapping them around my artificial tree because it's not already pre-lit. Got all the ornaments hung, got all the lights on everything, and then I was waiting for the big Clark Griswold moment. Much like Clark Griswold, nothing happened.
Not so much.
I had to pull everything back off the tree and go to Target the next day. But because I started early, I had no problem. They had lots of lights to choose from. So really quick, where'd it go? Oh Lord. Oh, it's been a while, man. Streamer brain is already messing with me.
I'm the one who does these things.
So far in the chat, we've got early comer Jacob Ironside. Good evening to you, brother, as well as Jay the Deep Minded. Good evening to you. Or well, actually, I'm not really sure what time it is wherever you may be in the world right now. I feel like you travel a lot.
It's late. I think it's late.
Could be morning, could be afternoon. I don't know. Hey, we're here.
Nobody knows.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah.
What are you
so
drinking, by the way? What do you have in your mug? I want to know this.
This is just tea.
You're drinking tea as well, as am I.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I'm not going to lie. I do have a little splash of whiskey here, but I definitely need to cut back on the beers. I maybe need to get on the diet beer train like you. But yeah, so before we really kind of dive into everything, I already did it a little bit on my anniversary celebration video, which, yay, my channel is 1 year old. Just kind of talking about work and different stuff and what's going on. And I said I was going to maybe have some good news. It's medium news so far. As I've already put it out there many times over, I don't like the company that I'm working for. I'm getting really bored overall just doing what I do as a machinist. Behind the scenes, before we hit live, I was lamenting to Roman about what a shitstorm this Monday was, and just another one of those days where it's like I should have just stayed in bed. But so last week, this actually was another shitstorm a little bit too. So last week, I was supposed to go to an open house on Tuesday for this union, and I know, I'm not going to get into it. I have my thoughts and my feelings about unions, but that's a whole other rant. Oh, Jay says it is midnight, after midnight. Wow. All right. Well, thanks for hanging in there with us and tuning in. So I went to this open house for this union that essentially schedules workers out to go anything and everything to do with live events, anything from your unloading travel cases off of a truck to your building the stage to your going up and hanging and rigging lights for a stage, or your, anything and everything, sound, AV setup, whatever. Just trying to kind of get my foot in the door with that industry. So I took a half day at work to be able to be at this open house by 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, November 22nd. This is exactly what the email said that I got from the guy. He didn't accidentally type the 22nd instead of the 23rd. He said Tuesday, November 22nd. You had two different times there that you could have messed up one or the other, but he messed up both apparently. And I had already taken half day off of Wednesday because going into the Thanksgiving weekend, I wanted to get an early start on holiday weekend and get the hell out of there at 9:30 in the morning on Wednesday as well. So I took the half day at Tuesday, came home, did some stuff, go out to the open house, and the poor girl at the office looked very confused when myself and another gentleman showed up. We got there about 30 minutes early, give or take. And we're like, oh, we're here for the open house. She's like, oh, okay, go ahead and have a seat. So we sit there for about a minute. He comes out. Oh, actually, it got moved to tomorrow. So, and we're like, cool. This is already a great start.
It's not good.
Wednesday, come back Wednesday, sit through their whole presentation, through their whole spiel. And basically, it's like they try to organize other companies like the Sports Arena, like the Old Globe Theater, like whatever. They try to organize them to only book work through their union. Once you're in with the union sends workers out. Hey, we need riggers, we need AV people, we need sound people, whatever. And again, union stuff, it's kind of a give and take. Could be getting my foot in the door with this thing. But at the same time, after we sit there for 2 hours and listen to this whole thing, they go, oh, and by the way, like Christmas time and the holidays are like a really slow season for this type of work. So don't quit your job yet. Like,
oh, dear God.
Maybe by like March or April, work will start like picking up and you'll be really busy depending on what you're doing and stuff. But they're like, for now, I'm like, okay, so I got to think about, do I really want to try to do my regular job that already like sucks the life out of me for a week, and then try to go do this other thing on the side to like build a reputation, get my foot in the door, whatever. Right. On top of also still trying to book gigs, which, hey, I'm playing a tiki bar this weekend.
That is exciting.
It'll be fun. I was asking the guy, like, wasn't even meaning to be like, hey, like, you need people to come and play here, but just asking out of curiosity because there's like 16 ukuleles hanging on the wall. I was like, so do you only book like, do you only book music that's like tiki, like island themed or what. He's like, oh no, he's like, whatever, like, what do you play? And he just started talking and he's like, what are you doing Friday? I'm like, oh. But then that set time is 8 to 10. I'm like, ooh, that's after my bedtime. But it's really close to where I live.
That is pretty late, but it's but you're right. It's
granted when I play at Helix, I usually finish around 9 or 9:30 and stick around and have another beer or two anyway. So this will probably just mean that I'll pack up and go home right away.
The place looks like it's cool.
I think I think that about gets me all caught up on what's been going on. And I know you haven't disappeared from the internet, but still,
everybody knows what's going on with me.
Yeah, everybody knows what's going on. But anyways, for the sake of tonight's stream, how the hell are you, Roman? What's going on?
Hi, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I've been doing my Christmas shopping, and I'm doing it online, which means I'm having to deal with, the computer while I'm ordering. So so this is like several layers of stress for me in trying to acquire, toys for my goddaughters and gifts for people, all scattered across the country, and making it work. Currently in the kitchen of the Empire, there's a spinning wheel on one of the sites right now where I'm trying to order. I got to the end and it's like, complete your order, click. And so it was before, I haven't put my credit card information in yet. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess it's waiting. So that's like my big excitement. I've been ordering new gear as well. So I ordered a new mic. This is for doing recording music stuff. I ordered a new mic and I ordered a keyboard. So I'm pretty excited about that. That was like gifts for me. And then ordering
Watch out,
things.
Everybody, Roman's got a keyboard.
I do. It's exciting. Things for Misses of the Empire. And we're trying to downscale this year. We're trying to just get less stuff because we're going to have really all the stuff. It's just more piles. Like I can't get more action figures at this point because I don't have anywhere to put them. I need a carpenter. If there are any carpenters out there, please feel free to contact me.
So I was walking around at an antique store here in my neighborhood yesterday that everything's all secondhand stuff, but action figures, toys, and records galore. And I was like, oh, if I tell Roman about this place, he's going to end up divorced.
Wait, there's one of these things near you?
But I won't tell you what the name of the store is. How about that?
Now I have to go visit John's neighborhood again. So that's kind of it. We doing the usual broadcast stuff. After this show, I'm jumping on with the boys over at Flaccid Phoenix, and we're going to be talking about Andor, the show that only we have watched. So it's exciting.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I might give it a chance eventually, but today is not that day.
I've said it before. Just jump to episode 8 and you'll be okay.
Wait, I'm waiting for it to pop up over here. No, this is a musical keyboard. This makes noise and sounds.
I already have 3 keyboards out here, Jacob.
3?
One on this computer, one on this
2
computer,
laptops and an external keyboard.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, no, this one is for playing music, so it makes noise.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, I've been little by little adding gear to my gig setup for when I go out and perform. I have more and more stuff to haul and more stuff to worry about, more stuff to trip over, more wrong buttons to hit while I'm trying to sing, and
all these things are true.
We'll see what happens.
You're good at it though. I would step on the wrong thing immediately.
So far though, I haven't really performed out with the looper yet. The harmony thing is easy. That's just on off. The looper thing is, we'll see how Friday goes. All right. So got a couple of short topics to get into. Actually, one I think is kind of interesting. I mean, it's been over. That's one I don't think I brought up. I just brought it up last minute before while I was.
Well, you can't do that to me.
I'm just, it's just a quick one. It's not going to be. This already happened over a week ago, but nope, that's not it. There we go. They very quickly just removed the Disney CEO that came in charge around 2020. Bob Iger was sort of like hanging on as like a board member, but then he left. And I mean, I don't know how much Iger is actually going to fix within the Disney Corporation, because
I don't think he's going to fix anything, because
they've been
Iger was
going
in
woke
charge when it
long.
started its slide,
Yeah,
man.
I think the
Other guy
biggest
just kind
thing,
of was there, but
one of the biggest things, I think, at least the biggest complaints, has to do more with the parks, with the cost of tickets and the passes, the annual passes not being available, the reservation system. Even if you have an annual pass and you want to go to the parks, everything like that's, if he can even just fix stuff within the Disney parks, he'll be a hero forever. He's already gone woke. Disney's been woke for a long time, but um, this will be interesting to see. Um, what happens with that, and if
I
he'll go
guess.
toe to toe with this. Let's see if he goes toe to toe with DeSantis.
Well, he might try. He'll lose, but he could try. No, that my problem is, like I said, Iger really, he started or was heavily involved in all the stuff that got us to here anyway. Chapek was just kind of there. He was a bumblefuck. I don't think there's any two ways around that. And they were, I saw a couple stories about them cooking the books, basically making their numbers look better than they were.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's almost never good, but it's not really surprising, because given the products that they've put out over the last several years now, it's been a steady slide to bad.
Yeah.
We were talking about Andor just a couple minutes ago. That has been, despite what one of the trolls on my YouTube page said, that has been the worst received of any Star Wars product, because the viewership is just simply not there. Why is the
Worse than
viewership not
Kenobi?
there? Disney? No, it's because of Boba Fett, Kenobi. And people are just like, why am I bothering?
I've given up. I gave up. I
Yeah,
did
a
not
lot of
finish
people-
Kenobi. I watched.
I don't know what the park attendance stuff is. I mean, I know you're coming out of the restrictions that were put in place by the draconian governments, but
Yeah, so basically what's happened is you have to make a reservation every time you want to go to the park. It doesn't matter if you have a single day ticket, it doesn't matter if you have an annual pass, every single time you want to go. And then the annual passes now have different levels of like your blockout days and what you're allowed to reserve. So yeah, it's a mess. They replaced Fast Pass with this thing called Genie Plus, but then I saw videos and posts around Halloween time where like the line to get on the holiday themed Haunted Mansion, the Genie Plus like Lightning Lane Fast Pass line was longer than the standby line. So now you're paying $20-25 a day to use this stupid thing, and the line is still wrapping all the way down around by Splash Mountain.
Oh,
so
that sounds
Jacob,
awesome.
that would definitely be good. I think we need to see more faces on YouTube. I know like Steven, a lot of times he's broadcasting just from his phone, and Jacob, but yeah, every once in a while we want to see people's smiling faces. Good evening,
I'm
Mr.
immediately pulling
AWK.
myself out.
Thank you for tuning in. And here, he's not changing the plans on streaming or with Marvel or Lucasfilm. Still planning all the layoffs. It's, yeah, like I said, I don't know how much is actually going to change with him being back, but if he just changes those two things with the Disney parks, he'll be a hero. Real easy fix.
Are zero.
But that, I think, leads perfectly into one of our other topics, since I'm not really going in any particular order. Oh, hell, what just happened? There we go. The Guardians of the Galaxy. So have you watched this yet?
I have. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. I was actually really surprised, because
really
just as much as I was literally just saying I've given up on all things Star Wars, Marvel.
Well, this had a couple things going for it, though. One, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I like those characters. And two, it's a James Gunn product.
Yes.
James Gunn is consistently good.
Well, and have you heard about his future with creating the DC universe now?
Yeah, so you've got this, and you've got Guardians 3 that's going to be coming out whenever the hell Guardians 3 comes out. That's his last bit with the Marvel universe. Then he's cut that. So he's
taking over DC.
Coming over DC, and hopefully he actually can give DC a linear plan as to how to put their franchise together in a way that doesn't suck. That's what I would like. That's what I would like.
The moment DC really screwed up. Well, I'd say I think there's two really big moments. There's a lot of moments where DC.
There's a lot of moments, buddy.
I will pinpoint two specific moments where they really screwed up. One was look at what Marvel did for 11 years. They built up this property from Iron Man to Endgame was 11 years. And it started really good. Should have stopped after Endgame. We've said that many times.
No, we've
But
seen a million times.
what they built, and even towards the end, okay, like Thor Ragnarok and Captain Marvel and stuff, but still like Infinity War and Endgame were fantastic.
The majority of the work was good. You did have some story arc. The ones you just mentioned, Ant-Man, who I could give two fucks about, but the majority
the overall
of it was
story arc and getting to where we were, getting to that moment at Endgame was mostly incredible, mostly well done. DC came in, they did what? They made like Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and I think
but they already started screwing it up with Batman versus Superman.
Right, but what I'm getting at though yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at is that I think they did. I think it was like Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and then Wonder Woman, and then they just did the Justice League movie where they started introducing all these other characters that hadn't had their own movies yet, and it's like, no, like you can't just catch up to Marvel overnight. This took 10 years, 11 years to do, like, and they are just like, oh, we're just gonna go, and it was bad,
something like that, and it showed that it was just, and it was a clusterfuck. Even though these are really established characters, people know who these characters are. They're not obscure or anything, but you just can't throw the story together like that because it does come off as rushed and goofy.
And then problem number 2 is when they started doing all these different Batmans and then the different Joker movie, which was a great movie if you remove the Joker character from it, the Joaquin Phoenix one. If you remove the fact that he was the Joker, it was a terrific movie, but the fact that they just like slapped this comic book sticker on the top of it at the end was like, was that really necessary? So then they came out and fully admitted, because we've already in the last few years, whatever, we've had the Batmans with Ben Affleck, and then the Suicide Squad movies with Jared Leto as the Joker, and then Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. They came out and publicly said, we're no longer making these movies cohesive. We're not even going to pretend like they're cohesive. We're just letting people run and just go. So those are the two big mistakes, is that they tried to sprint to the finish line, and then they were just like, everybody just go make whatever movie you want with the property. They don't have to tie together anymore. And then they're like, why aren't people going to see our movies? So yes, all that to say, James Gunn taking the helm, I think will be really, really good.
And the only complaint I have in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special was that Kevin Bacon song towards the end. I thought that was maybe just a little too much. So
that was initially why I pulled this up, was I was going to specifically talk about the soundtrack, because as we've always talked about, Guardians always has great soundtracks. And they're also the reason why they decided modern music needs to be in all of the Marvel movies now. Which I don't know if I told you, I actually finally recently sat through Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm done with Marvel.
I'm sorry. I don't know why you did that to yourself.
Such a turd. The whole movie felt like a parody of itself. I kept waiting for like Pete Davidson or somebody to come out and be like, gotcha.
So on a semi-related note, just because we're talking about that, Chris Hemsworth said he's not going to do any more Thors until they pull away from the Taika Waititi.
Thank God. he needs to be done with it anyways. The way
Roger Eggers, who did The Northman, is they're talking about.
I think Hemsworth needs to be done with it anyways, because another thing that I think made these movies successful for the time that they were is that everything was more or less dealt with in trilogies. 3 Iron Man movies, 3 Captain America movies. There were 3 Thor movies. And then if you kind of lump Endgame and Infinity War together as like one movie together, then it's kind of like, okay, we had Avengers Age of Ultron, and then the 2-parter kind of. But now it's like he's broken the mold and gone for a 4th movie, and it's like, now what are we doing?
Well, yeah, and it was shit. And yes, Jay the Deep Minded, I agree with you entirely about this. They had a great actor and a great character. And is someone there at your house?
Yeah.
Is it me?
I don't know. If they ring a 3rd time, I might get up. For now,
I can handle this.
It's okay.
If you're in trouble, though, please let me know. Uh,
I hope not.
yeah, so it starts off. I loved it because it started off with a fairy tale of New York from the Pogues, and anything that starts with the Pogues, you've got me. You've got me. I'm invested.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had the fairy tale in New York. Then I guess they said this was written for the movie, but
Yes,
that James Gunn wrote the lyrics for this and then got the guy from the old 97s to sing it and play it.
it was great. It was a funny song.
Yeah. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. So it was if you haven't seen this show yet, and I'm going to let John talk about the music when he gets back. um I didn't know what to expect going into it because it's a holiday special. Those can always be a little wonky anyway, but this actually hit all the wickets. It was charming, it was funny, it had some touching moments, but it didn't dwell on that because that's not really who these characters are. um but the beginning and the ending were really, it was a nice start and then back to that point again. They did it. James Gunn did a really good job with this. And when you're dealing with characters who don't know what Christmas is, because most of these are aliens, they have no idea what the hell Christmas is. They put it together nicely. What was it? Me? Was that the delivery that I was hoping for?
I had a package that was misdelivered here for someone who used to live here like years ago, and it was delivered by UPS. So I figured, well, the mailman comes around every day, but not UPS. So I took it back to the UPS store to say, this person no longer lives here. And the guy just showed up. I was like, sorry, dude, I took it back to the UPS store. We might have some luck there. Well, on one hand, the mailman was like, oh, if you leave it out there, UPS guy might come back. It's like, no, they're not. I'm not going to just leave a package sitting out here. Anyway.
Good Lord.
So you didn't like the Here It Is Christmas Time with Kevin Bacon in the old 97s?
No. And I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. I just thought it was like long. It's just like, oh, good. It's another song at this point.
Yeah. And man, I don't know if that was like a spoiler or not. I don't know if Kevin Bacon was in the trailer, but
yeah, he's in the trailer.
I
Kevin
thought that
Bacon
storyline was kind of interesting, though, considering in the movie Quill talks about how he used to always tell people that David Hasselhoff was his dad. I thought it would have been funnier if they got the Hoff, but maybe he said no.
Well, I don't know how active he is. Kevin Bacon looks pretty good for his age. Pretty spry and sprightly. I don't know how the Hoff is doing.
Sure, his music career is really taken off in Germany, though. He's always been a big hit out there.
In Germany. I can't explain it either. Now I didn't know a lot of these songs, but I knew some of them.
Yeah, even as I'm looking at the list, I'm kind of like not very familiar, but I actually did like. So I have a very love-hate opinion of the Smashing Pumpkins. I like the Smashing Pumpkins. Billy Corgan really bugs the crap out of me, but I thought this one was a good addition. Like when they light up all the lights and everything, and Peter comes out and the song is playing. I thought that was a pretty magical moment. I liked it. It worked.
Like I said, the only one that really didn't work for me was that last piece, and I don't even. It's not even the song so much. It was because it was long, and it was like, oh, it's another musical number. I'm good for like a musical number in a thing.
Oh man, you want to talk about musical numbers? Have you heard of or seen the trailers for this movie Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell?
I've seen like picture stuff, but I haven't seen anything that I. Oh hey, Matt's here.
Oh hey.
Hello, Matt.
Oh, you pulled it up already. What's up, Matt? There we go.
We're actively fighting.
We were both clicking on it at the same time. So Spirited is a full-on musical. It's like Broadway play put to film, singing, dancing, the whole thing. I really wanted to like it, and the story was pretty good up to a certain point, and then they kept.
You actually watched the movie, whatever.
I watched the movie, yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's kind of funny being a musician. I don't like musicals. Like I don't like Broadway. I don't like theater. I don't like that type of musical. Where they're like singing the dialogue and then they're tap dancing.
Lord,
more power to you if you like it. It's just never been my bag.
I don't prefer that myself. No.
But it's like, okay, it still kind of had an interesting story. There were a couple of twists and turns in there where they were like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Didn't see that coming. And then it just kept taking some weird left turns that you're like, okay, I thought you were going to wrap this up, and now it's getting weird. And I don't know. Hey, no, he's not that good.
No, he got away. He found his way home, and it's probably going to be some trouble later for me.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so that's Guardians.
Yeah. But just like I said, overall, I thought it was fun, and I do think people should watch it. Give that one a chance, because I know Disney Plus has burned a lot of you guys, and I understand. I'm there. But this was a good product. Don't ignore the good products because of the bad.
Right.
Because there aren't that many good products.
So before we move on, I had this tweet that I retweeted. I think I saw Alasia, a troubled green, retweet it first, and then I latched onto it and retweeted it. But I think it kind of goes in line a little bit with what we've been talking about so far, talking about Disney and the wokeness and whatever. So it's like a tweet of a tweet of a tweet. Matthew Marsden says, been saying this for 15 years. Conservatives rarely fund films or filmmakers, and when they do, they want to do it on the cheap. There's also little desire for excellence. Fraction of the money spent on political campaigns would change the culture significantly. And then down here, the original posting, I think the right needs to start funding more artists, filmmakers, writers, instead of politicians and super PAC. Eh? I don't know what that means. Are we both old?
Super PACs.
Super PAC.
A super PAC is basically a group of people. They pool their money together. That's what a super PAC is.
Got it. Okay. So you don't win a naval war without any ships, and you can't win a culture war without any culture. We've been reacting too long time ago on the offensive. So this has kind of been like a nagging question that pops up in the streams every once in a while. Like tweet about it. Sometimes I do a poll on Instagram and just asking the question of like, why oh, there we go. Matt has the answer. Thank you, Matt. Political Action Committee. I'm really bad with acronyms. When I see stuff and like people put this out there, like we're supposed to just know what it means, I'm like, yeah, I'm clueless on that one. But this question keeps popping up of like, why do creative people, musicians, writers, artists, filmmakers, why do these people tend to be so far left leaning, and in many cases socialist? I don't know if you've been seeing some of the stuff that Stephen King has been tweeting lately, but man, he is big mad about Elon Musk.
He's got to be.
You know, and it's just again, on the flip side, I'm not saying that everybody needs to think exactly like we do or exactly like I do it, but it's just this thing of like, as we've just been saying, with Disney, with Marvel, with Star Wars, like you just feel like you're getting beat over the head with an agenda now. And it's like, why are the people creating content so far, like so just immediately accepting all this weird, crazy madness stuff?
Yep.
That I don't get it. I don't understand. And this is, I think, another piece of the puzzle. And growing up in a Christian home, my mom managed a Christian bookstore, gift store type of place. And I can definitely speak to this. Like anytime if a movie came out that was made by like a Christian or a conservative movie studio or whatever, it was always in like very low budget. The writing was really bad. It usually starred Kirk Cameron.
Also true.
And it's just like they don't put money into it. And it's like, you want to make these movies, you want to put these stories out there. And then, you know, you get mad if like Hollywood does it and they're casting all these like heathen, non-Christian, whatever people stuff. It's like, well, you guys are making crap content, so step up and make your own stuff better.
Yeah, you need producers. You need conservative producers. That's where the money comes. Money is from the producers.
And what's funny too is I remember growing up, my parents were usually pretty cool about the music thing. They weren't super strict about, oh, you can't listen to this, that, the other, whatever stuff. But I remember at one time being a kid and this like Christian magazine publication or something would like put out this list of, oh, if you like Green Day, you might like this Christian band Alternative, or if you like this secular band, you might. And it was never good. It was never the same. So much so that I the older I get, the more I understand why bands that are like a group of 4 or 5 Christian guys who grow up in the church and start a band and stuff, a lot of times reject the label Christian band because you automatically have like a stigma that your music's not going to be good. Like the guys in POD from San Diego, Christian guys, grew up playing churches, youth groups, and everything. But now, I mean, they tour the world. They play House of Blues. They play whatever. Switchfoot, another San Diego band. These guys, I mean, they go out and they make good music that has a positive message in the lyrics. And not every single song is all God and Jesus and whatever, but people have sort of started to not really reject it, but not just be like, hey, like this is a label we want on our band. Like, right. I always made the joke that I think at least one or some of the guys in the Beastie Boys came out and like said they were Buddhist or something. It's like, well, you wouldn't go and call the Beastie Boys a Buddhist band. And the singer from Godsmack was like into witchcraft and like was a Wiccan at one point, and you wouldn't call them like a witchcraft band or a Wiccan band. Like, it's these weird labels that people have to put on things. But all these other artists, all these other bands, like you never hear of a Catholic band or a Jewish band. Like,
well, I mean, we have those monks. They're a no, they're actually a band. What the hell is their name? Mrs. of the Empire knows this, but they're fun. Thelonious, no. The Hillbilly Thomas. I'm sorry, it took me a minute to get there. I am very old. And they are like a bluegrass folk kind of band. But they're all monks. They're all it's a little group of Dominican monks. And they're cool. They're cool. I mean, okay. Yeah, granted, they're not going to be playing the sports arena, but they're a good band.
I mean, it's probably not terribly unlike that band Wardruna that I just saw with Max, where they're legitimately from Norway, and all the instruments they were playing on stage was unlike anything I've ever seen in my life, because they're like authentic old world instruments, like made out of ram's horns and like animal skin.
So fun.
It was pretty cool, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was starting to doze off a little bit towards the end of their set because I wake up so early.
That's what you get. Yeah, that's not good, bud.
Well, waking up really early, going to a show midweek, having a couple beers, you know. Yeah.
What did Jay say?
So what did we just have? Oh, there you go. Woke movies have a lot in common with Christian movies from the 90s. Message ahead of good writing, acting, and production values. I 100% agree. I mean, yeah. The Left Behind series, I think, was a series of books and novels that even people who are not of any kind of faith had heard of, maybe even read some of. The books were very well written. The stories were great. But yeah, they tried to make
I actually watched the first one of those. Because I was familiar with the story, and it was disappointing to say the least. I felt like one of those Left Behind, because I was like, ooh, this is some kind of punishment.
So the books were well written. The stories were good. It's all basically they're trying to put like real life events around the book of Revelation, which is basically how the world ends in the Bible. Much of which most of my tattoos up on my shoulders are based off of some weird imagery in that book. Not the Left Behind book, the book of Revelation. End of the world.
Yes, also true.
But then I think they actually made another Left Behind movie with Nicolas Cage in it, of all people. Never saw that one.
Surprising. Do you have $15 that I can borrow? We're going to need you to be in this movie.
Jacob Ironside just shared a picture.
Oh no! What already?
I didn't think we did anything tonight. Not yet, but you know, there's always content to be had.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What is it? Oh. You're scanning your computer to find this. Oh, what? Oh, God. What the hell?
Full screen layout. Let's go over here and go. Oh, hell.
Wait a minute.
There we go.
A soundboard would help, but it was a Necronomicon soundboard. That's
Solid.
from the Evil Dead, for those of you who are not aware.
Yes.
Thank you, Jacob Byers.
The resident memer.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so good. Let's see. So I have another tab up here, but I also need to find, because this article doesn't talk about half of what I wanted to talk about. Headlining World Tour. So we're not just sitting here in total silence. Metallica released a new song and announced they have a new album coming up. But also, I got an email talking about
From James
concert dates
Hetfield.
coming up. Yes, he wants me to come to their concert, their 2-day concert. They're probably going to cost $1,000.
My son, actually, Jacob of the Empire, had emailed me saying, "Hey, Dad, Metallica's coming to LA," and I'm like, "All right."
Yeah. So,
when are they coming? When are they coming to LA, John?
North American tour.
Okay, I do like.
We got a tour list here.
Big fan of Metallica.
So yeah, I got just the email that was like, "Oh, they're coming to SoFi Stadium," and I was like, "Oh, it's in LA and it's 2 nights." There's like 2-night tickets going on sale soon. I was like, "What about just a 1-night ticket?" So what they are? Nope. Oh Lord. See, this is what happens. I haven't been in charge of a stream in a while. So Metallica announces massive M72 World Tour, and we'll get to it in the other article, but their new album that they announced is called 72 Seasons, I believe. Yes. Okay. So they've announced a world tour, massive global trek that will see the legendary metal band play stadiums across North America and Europe throughout 2023 and 2024. Comes in support of upcoming album 72 Seasons, which will be released April 14th, 2023. We will see Metallica playing 2 nights in every city on their tour docket with the promise of completely different set lists and support lineups.
Holy shit.
The rotating cast of opening acts includes the Pantera tribute that they have coming around with Zakk Wylde and forget the other guy, the drummer from Anthrax, because nobody cares about Anthrax.
Or drummers.
Mammoth WVH. So for those of you who don't know, that's Eddie Van Halen's son, who the album that he released, his son, he wrote and recorded everything himself.
Good for him.
He wrote the whole album himself. He recorded every album, every vocal, everything. So yeah, Eddie Van Halen's son, Mammoth WVH. Greta Van Fleet. Oh. I remember when
Fleet.
I remember when Greta Van Fleet hit
rip-off band of children, but I still like them.
So
except one song about global warming, in which case they can fuck off on. But the rest of their stuff, I think, is pretty good.
The funny thing about Greta Van Fleet is, yeah, they hit the scene and they had that one song. I forget the name of the song, but it when I first heard it, I legitimately thought like they had uncovered previously unreleased Led Zeppelin tracks. I was like, wow, like this is really great. And they just had that one song for the longest time. Yes. And then their whole album came out, and I listened to the album, and I was like, wow, you guys just had one good song.
I disagree. Like I said, there's really one song I didn't like. The rest of it, I bought 2 albums by them when that came out.
And then they even tried to come out and say, oh, well, you know, Led Zeppelin actually isn't even that big of an influence on our writing. It's like, just own it.
Shut up.
Just own it. You're basically a Led Zeppelin cover. You're just a Led Zeppelin cover band. Just own the fact that you're trying to sing like Robert Plant. So yeah, we'll get to that, Jay. We're getting there. I know Matt's got his thing here. So Matt says, I like the new Metallica song. James not screamed that loud in the song since Ride the Lightning. Yeah, he said we'll definitely get there. And then so Greta Van Fleet, and then Five Finger Death Punch, Volbeat,
I like them
Architects,
too.
and Ice Nine Kills. Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch and Volbeat, those are 2 good ones. Additionally, the tour will feature a new in the round stage design that relocates the famed Metallica Snake Pit to center stage. And then here's the tour dates down below. So
So not coming down here. No one comes to San Diego.
They're coming to Inglewood, and that's the closest, unless you want to drive to Glendale, Arizona.
I don't know. I don't like going to LA.
Yeah, LA is not fun. And Mexico City. Hey, there you go.
Está, senor.
It might actually be closer to us than Los Angeles. I don't know.
That's on Dre, exactly. LA can take 5 fucking hours to get to, even though it's only should be about an hour and a half away.
So that's the tour. Let me pull up the other article that I sent earlier. Go. So here, courtesy of Revolver magazine, Metallica's first new song in 6 years, Lux Eterna.
I didn't understand the title.
Yeah, well, order Metallica's new album, 72 Seasons, on CD and 2 LP vinyl at Revolver's shop. So,
hey, did you try to order it? Did you bring up prices?
No. I don't think it'll be outrageous. I mean, pre-orders and stuff, unless it's like some really rare limited edition box set thing, it'll probably be not too terrible.
Are you kidding
you got
me?
the track listing.
Iron Maiden's double album that came out last year, the new one with the samurai on the front, that thing is like $70, and that's just an album. That's not like a special album. That's just the
this
album.
Could be. I could see this one being around maybe 40 or 50, unless they do something really special with the packaging.
Yeah, because Hardwired, which is also a double, although like everything's a double album now. Anytime you buy fucking vinyl, it's almost always double albums because it's that 1080 pressing where it's a different spacing on the album as well, which is they say it makes it sound better. I don't fucking know. But Hardwired, I liked Hardwired a lot. But that was like normal
good.
Price. It was a normal price album.
And that album was good too. Actually, I saw them on that tour when they were here at the ballpark, and that was an amazing show. But yeah, it's I always hate like when a band has been around for 20, 30 years and people use the phrase of like, oh, it sounds like they're going back to their old stuff. They're going back to their roots. Like, well, no, because now Metallica is they're all in their 50s, maybe early 60s, and they're freaking rich, so they'll never know what it's like to be poor and hungry and playing in a garage again. So they'll never be able to get back to that mindset. But I will honestly say, when I listened to this song, it was a lot more reminiscent of those earlier albums with Cliff Burton.
Yeah.
And,
no, when I heard that, it reminded me of Kill 'Em All, the opening on Kill 'Em All, where which reminded me of Lemmy's band, England.
Why did my brain just short circuit?
Ace of Spades.
Oh no! Oh, what? I know. Oh, this is embarrassing.
I'm having a moment. Thad, help me!
This is so embarrassing.
I
don't want to look it up because then it's like admitting failure. But
Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades. Fuck my life. Motorhead. Thank you, Matt.
Motorhead. Oh my god. Why? That's definitely in my brain. Why was that not in my brain today? And I haven't even been drinking.
Thank you for pulling me out of the depths of despair there, Matt.
But then just to back up a little bit.
Musically always reminded me a bit of Motorhead, just the way they would start things off and get things going. And I still can't pronounce that album title, Matt, from Iron Maiden's last one. It's a really good album. Actually their last couple albums have been great, but the fucking pricing on it was like, whoa, that's a lot.
But yeah, so here Matt's saying it is kind of funny too, and he's saying you have to look at which Anthrax drummer it was because Anthrax has gone through quite the lineup change from singers, drummers to whatever. So Charlie Benante on drums, Zach Wilde on guitar, and then of course Rex Brown and Phil Anselmo. And I guess
I know.
Definition of the Lux Eterna.
Jay's being mean.
Hey, I mean, yeah, I don't know why that was. that was embarrassing. Me being the music guy, I should have known that. But when you think of Motorhead, all you think of is Lemmy. And then also I think of the joke in the movie Airheads when they're trying to see if the guy is a cop or not to let him into the radio station because they're all locked in there. And they're like, who would win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God? And the guy goes, Lemmy. Like, wrong. God. Trick question. Lemmy is God. This guy's a cop.
Lord.
But yeah, no, I really like. I mean, obviously at this point, Hetfield's voice is different. Like he's never gonna.
Yes.
I mean, I would be willing to bet money that when they do play those older tracks live, they've had to drop the key down because he's older. You can't hit the high notes like he used to. His voice still sounds phenomenal, but he doesn't have that.
Well,
same
it changes. I mean,
range
that
as when he
happens.
was. You don't have that same
Yeah,
range as when you're 18 years old.
What's his fuck from Rush? Geddy Lee. His voice changed. I actually preferred his voice when he got older to his younger.
Well,
voice.
and Maynard from Tool. I've read stuff about how typically Tool albums are all Adam Jones traditionally plays all their songs in like standard drop D tuning, nothing outlandish. But I'd read interviews with him recently saying that when they play older stuff from like Opiate and Undertow, he has a couple of guitars that are tuned in like drop B because Maynard's voice just doesn't have quite the same range as he did 30 years ago. Still sounds phenomenal, but it's like, I'm in my 50s now. Let's drop it down a key. But yes, this definitely, like I said, I hate it when people say, oh, it sounds like their old stuff, but it really did have like the 80s. It was like the combination of the old style from like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, but newer with modern production quality value, value. And yeah, very reminiscent.
Well, you see bands
of
do this kind
days.
of stuff too. Like U2 went through a phase after oh god damn it, Rattle and Hum. After Rattle and Hum, they released Octung Baby, which was a real shift for them. And then they had like several albums that were just weird and not what they were doing before. And then they came back to it all with I think it was All That You Can't Leave Behind. And they went back to a more civilized Brian Eno sounding type band. Metallica, after the Black Album, this to me was where they kind of had a departure and stayed that way until they went back with Hardwired. You had several albums in the middle there, and I don't own any of those. I stopped with the Black Album just because I knew the other stuff, and I didn't dig it. I mean, other people do like that stuff, and that's fine. But it wasn't my bag, baby.
Like
when Hardwired came out, though, I was like, "Fuck, that's great."
Like on Saint Anger, when it sounded like Lars was playing on a metal trash can lid. I've never listened to the whole album, but every time I hear just that one song, every snare hit is just like trash can, trash can, trash can, trash can, trash can. It's like the snare is so loud.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't dig it for
Lars is the whole reason why there's no bass in the mix on And Justice for All. People out there on the internet have tried to kind of work their magic and put it up on YouTube. Go and search for it, look up And Justice for Jason on YouTube, and people have tried to like boost the low frequency a little bit to kind of bring it out. But the story goes, they're in the studio and Lars, looks like Mr. AWK's got to take off. Well, hey, cheers, thanks for popping in. I know it's
hey, buddy.
The middle of the night / early hours of the morning, but always good to see you in the chat, brother. Have a good rest of your night or morning. So they're in there mixing the album. Everything's all recorded, and Lars is in there hovering over the guy on the soundboard, and he's telling him to like pull the bass down. He's like, okay. He's like, pull it down more. And long story short, he just kept saying lower, lower, lower because he wanted his drum mix to sound a certain way, and basically getting his drums to sound the way he wanted meant completely pulling all of Jason Newsted's parts out of the mix. Thanks a lot.
Cool, bro.
Yeah, they admitted years later that they probably hazed him harder than he deserved because he was the guy coming in after Cliff died. And it's like, man, all right. Well.
No, actually, I don't own Injustice either. That's the other. So I have all the early stuff. I don't. Injustice is fine. I think it's a very self-indulgent album, and that's where I
see what I have.
That's where it loses me. because I have Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and then I skipped to the Black Album, and then Hardwired. That's what I have. Just like I said, because I'm not a big fan of Injustice. I have it digitally. I don't own it on vinyl because vinyl is fucking expensive.
I do have Injustice. And
No, and I'm not.
Puppets.
Master of Puppets is great. I love Master of Puppets so much.
And this was
I
one
fight
that
with
I
my
found
favorites
at,
on Metallica.
this was one that I found at Reanimated, but the 598 EP Garage Days Revisited.
Revisited,
yeah. Revisited, yeah. Yeah, but no, I was actually reading something kind of interesting about them not too long ago, talking about exactly that during the era of the Black Album, and then they went into the dark times of Load and Reload, where they cut their hair and decided to start wearing eyeliner and whatever. But something I did not realize that they did do, and it kind of speaks a little bit to how the internet is a useful and convenient tool, but oftentimes can ruin things. So I guess when they were touring on Load and Reload, they had this very elaborate stage show set up where people thought that like accidents were happening and things were going wrong. They basically punked the crowd every night of the tour. But because the internet was kind of in its infancy and smartphones didn't exist, you got to go see the show and be surprised. It was like in the middle of a song, a guy that's like up rigging lights gets electrocuted and falls down, and he's hanging from a rope, and they pull the guy down off the rope, and then a flare goes off and a guy's running across the stage on fire, and they put him out, and then the whole stage set starts to collapse in and fall in on the band, and then they all evacuate and leave, and then they come back with small guitar amps and just bare light bulbs huddled around the amps and the drum set, and they play a couple more songs and whatever. And it turned out like this was an elaborate setup they did every night of the tour, but every night
that seems like a lot of work.
It does seem like a lot of work, but at least like people were surprised every night because people couldn't be like, "Oh, I'm gonna put this on Instagram."
Wow, no, that's I don't know. I don't know if I would go to that kind of level just to make a prank for the crowd.
Well, you want to really talk about a lot of work and a lot of wasted money. Back in the like late 90s, early 2000s, Nine Inch Nails became famous for when it looked like they were playing their last song of the night, they would trash all the instruments on the stage. I mean, they're pouring bottles of water on the keyboards, knocking the drums over, smashing the guitars. And they walk off stage and there's just feedback and strobe lights for a few minutes. And then the crew comes out, puts out all brand new, fresh instruments, and they play their encores. I'm like, how expensive was this tour?
God. That's a crime.
Oh, yes. And then the first S&M concert, yeah, I wonder if, I mean, I'm sure even the first one was very expensive to go to, but I wonder if the people who got tickets and went to it like realized what they were seeing like when they were there. Because this was around the same time where like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra was starting to become more popular. They started kind of in the mid to late 90s, but they were really gaining steam when they did that Carol of the Bells or whatever their title is of that one. But yeah, more and more bands wanting to do stuff with symphonies and symphonic and everything. And I've seen the Trans-Siberian Orchestra live a couple of times too. And that's another one that if they come anywhere near you and you get a chance to see them, whether you're into Christmas stuff or not, the show is spectacular because they have a narrator who essentially tells a story throughout the show. He tells a piece of the story, the band plays, more story, more band playing, but the video screens, the visuals, the laser lights, the pyrotechnics, they have these big mechanical arms that the guitarists and violins will strap into, and the arms will swing them out over the crowd, and it's a spectacle to be seen. I've seen them twice, I think, and yeah, and they usually wherever they tour, they have their set band of their guitar, bass, one violinist, whatever, but then they'll pull members from whatever the nearest local symphony is. So like when they play here, they'll bring in members from the San Diego Symphony and have them be part of the show. And they'll usually do 1 or 2 nights in a row, multiple shows per night. So you can go to the early show, be out in time for dinner, and get out of there. The orchestra who did the concert said they had never experienced anything like performing in front of a metal audience. Yes. So I'm sure that was quite the experience for the first S&M concert that they did. But actually, just a couple years ago, they did S&M 2, which in some regards was a little bit strange because they did a lot of the same songs. But there was a point in the S&M 2 performance where the cellist, I think is how you pronounce it, came out and played Anesthesia Pulling Teeth as like his tribute to Cliff Burton by himself. But he like had his cello running through overdrive. He had a wah pedal running on it and did the whole thing. And afterwards, people are asking Metallica bassist Robert Trujillo, why weren't you out there with him? Why weren't you part of that? And he's like, man, I saw what that guy was doing with his arrangement, and I was like, that's all you, man. I'm not touching that. You just go for it. So look that up from S&M 2, Anesthesia Pulling Teeth. The guy on the cello is just rocking it. And actually, that's another one that comes to mind now too. Is if you've never heard of Apocalyptica, check those guys out. They are a band of like 3 cellists who they write original music, but when I saw them here at the Civic down in downtown San Diego, they were doing all Metallica songs all night long. And same thing, I mean, they were doing all the guitar solos, they had the wah pedals hooked up and everything, and it started out very classy where it was the 3 guys in like tuxedos and the lighting, and it was much more quiet and mellow. They took an intermission and then they came out in a little bit more like shirtless or sleeveless, like metal, kind of like something you'd expect to see in like an 80s, 90s concert. And they had a drummer, and then they really rocked it out. But that was another really cool show to see. Seeing people play metal on classical instruments with overdrive and effects. And
now I've wandered across them on the YouTube, and yeah, they're just fantastic. A lot of fun. Because it's familiar and different at the same time, and that's the cool part.
Yeah. Well, those are all the topics I had for the night. You have any other?
There's Zach's
burning
popping in.
Oh yeah, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, Zax? No, I wanted to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy special some more.
Got it. Okay.
Just because it was such a fun show, and like I said, my concern is that people aren't going to give it a chance because of the Disney Plus poison factor.
Yes.
But give it a chance, please watch this show. If you haven't seen the trailer, the basic gist is it's Christmas. And they're at nowhere at the station, and Peter's feeling kind of down. So Mantis and Drax want to do something nice for him. So they come up with the idea of getting him a present, and that present is Kevin Bacon, and hilarity ensues. It's a funny story. And the whole beginning, you get some Yondu back because they go in the past, and it's done in cartoon, but that's okay. It actually worked really well as an intro and an outro.
Yeah, and if they didn't actually get him back to do the voice of Yondu, whoever did it was very good.
No, that was him. That was Michael Rooker.
That was really him. Okay, nice.
Yep.
I'm still sad that he died at the end of the second one. I really wish that they would have explored his character more.
No, Yondu, I would have loved to have seen more Yondu.
But I mean, with all this like multiverse stuff they're doing, they could pull him back for the third one.
I don't. He's not a particularly young man. I mean, that's the actor himself. I mean, that's
a lot of blue makeup. It'll be fine.
But I mean, I don't want to see I don't want to see a past story with Peter and Yondu and all that, just because it's unnecessary. I liked Guardians 1 and 2, and I like this a lot too. I mean, I'm hoping Guardians 3 is good. The problem, the Guardians were in Thor: Love and Thunder, but it was Thor: Love and Thunder, so nobody cared because it was just such a massive piece of shit. I still
thought it was kind of strange that Gamora was not in the holiday special because we already know she's going to be in Volume 3.
Oh, I didn't know that. So thank you for spoiling that for me.
They've already been like, Zoe Saldana's been out there going, oh, it's so hard to say goodbye to the character. It's like, well, spoiler alert. Jeez.
I saw a movie with her in it the other night that I realized it was her as soon as she popped on screen, but I didn't know she was in it because I didn't really know much about the movie. And that movie was The Atom Project. Have you seen that?
I do not know what that is. No.
It's on Netflix. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it and Mark Ruffalo for a little bit. Yeah, and I like Mark Ruffalo as an actor. He's a twat as a human, but I like him as an actor.
Ruffalo, so Mark Ruffalo.
Whatever you use.
I was like, what are you saying?
You pronounce a lot of things fucked up, like the way you say sorry, like sorry, or some fucking thing. Anyway, so it's a movie about time travel where Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Thank you. So Ryan Reynolds is coming back from the year 2050. He's engaged in like a gunfight. His ship, they don't want him to go back in time. They know he's coming. He's trying to go back to the year 2018. His ship gets shot up. And he ends up going back to 2018 where he has to interact with his 12-year-olds, or 2022, I'm sorry, where he has to interact with his 12-year-old self, get the ship fixed, and then they have to go back to 2018 to interact with their dad who died a year before. So that's why he was trying to go back to that point originally, because time travel has fucked things up. You'll find that surprising. And his goal is to try to unfuck it. But it's like Ryan Reynolds is like Gosling. Ryan Gosling. Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, you hate Ryan Gosling.
Except I hate Ryan Gosling but it's funny because they're both play themselves in whatever movie they're in, except Ryan Reynolds is good and Ryan Gosling is a plank of wood. But anyway, that movie actually had reminded me a lot of Guardians. It had a real similar vibe. I actually had to go back and look who directed it because I'm like, geez, did James Gunn direct this? He did not. But it's a good movie. So anyway, back to the Guardians thing though. The Kevin Bacon stuff, except for the end, which I found to be just a bit self-indulgent, was funny. He was really fucking funny in it. And I do love that song by the old 97s, that I don't know what Christmas is.
I don't know what Christmas is. Yeah.
Look up the video. First of all, actually just watch the fucking show because it does deserve your attention, even though you don't want to watch Disney Plus. I know you don't want to watch it, but watch it anyway. Just watch this one thing. And I get it. I know Disney Plus is not good. It is overall as a thing is not good. Yeah, I don't know what to do though. This was a good production, so please.
And that's I think becoming the hardest thing for the little bit of good content that does get put out on that platform.
No, you're fucked.
That people like you and I have to say, hey, this one thing was actually good. Go give it a chance. I've given up on Marvel. I've given up on Star Wars. I've watched everything up to Moon Knight and one episode of She-Hulk. I watched all things Star Wars up to maybe the first 3 episodes of Kenobi and then jumped ship. So I keep hearing rumors of Rian Johnson directing a new trilogy of movies.
And it's like, God,
do you not listen to any of the fans? Like the most hated movie out of the sequel trilogy. Like people already didn't like the sequel trilogy, but which one did everyone talk about the most? The one that Rian Johnson directed. Why?
Yeah,
you know why? Because Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, then you got Indy 5 coming out.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. I know. I'm not in charge of these things. What is that? Oh, that's right. I love this.
He's your favorite
really
guy.
Better than any Ryan Gosling movie is this This montage of cereal coming at Ryan Gosling. Still better. Still
Oh.
better.
So good.
Oh,
So what's on the horizon for Marvel?
Well, we know they're going to be doing the Thunderbolts.
What is that? Is that like
It's
Thundercats?
led. It's kind of so. It's a team led by General Thunderbolt Ross. From the Hulk. Different actors obviously going to have to play the part. Actually,
Oh wait, is this the one that's going to be
right.
Harrison Ford now?
Harrison Ford, I think.
Harrison Ford
taking
is so
over
much
that
older
role.
than William Hurt was. He's so
And
much older.
while I love Harrison Ford, please stop. Please stop, Harrison Ford.
I think he needs to retire.
Well, dude,
He
I get
played
it.
some of my favorite movie characters
He
growing
did.
up, but I think he's run his course.
No, Indiana Jones. Yeah, it is the Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, but I don't think this is going to be nearly as entertaining as Suicide Squad. One, because it's Marvel. And it's not going to be a James Gunn thing. It's going to be someone who's trying to emulate James Gunn
Okay.
and not doing.
I was going to say
job.
which Suicide Squad are we talking about? So the reboot
Oh,
that still had
the
Margot Robbie in
Suicide
it.
Squad was the James Gunn version, which is my favorite one. I think it was David Ayers was directed the original one, but they say that one got cut to shit, and there's actually a better version of it out there. I don't know that. I don't know if they release it, I'll get to see it. But they, are they going to put that together? I don't know that.
Jacob, is this true? Or is this a song lyric? Am I missing something? It sounds like a country song or something.
It doesn't. And that's how we got Jacob Ironside, my friends. Oh, goodness gracious. I've actually lost my train of thought inside. Oh, Marvel. We were talking about Marvel and the Thunderbolts. And they don't. Yeah. No, he said he doesn't want to do woke Thor. So I hope he just says, you know what? You can straight up fuck off and doesn't come back to it. I don't know how the Wakanda movie is doing because I don't give a fuck.
I'll see it when it's on Disney Plus.
I probably won't watch it then, honestly.
I am interested because I didn't care enough to actually look up the actress's name, but the one who plays the sister who takes on the mantle of Black Panther. They initially people wanted to cancel her a couple years ago because she didn't even post about it. She just liked some quote unquote anti-vax tweets. So because she liked some tweets that people disagreed with, they wanted to cancel her. And then she's also come out very publicly with her faith and being a Christian and this and that and the other. So I'm like, just the fact that people want to cancel her and they still put her as the lead in this movie. I'm like, I'm not going to go pay money to see it, but I'll give her a chance. Just because it pissed people off.
I have I don't have a problem with any of those things. Obviously, what I have a problem with is that she is completely inadequate for the role. They should have just recast the movie, and I know they didn't want to do that, but they should have recast the movie.
This was a lose-lose situation, obviously.
Chadwick
Boseman was so beloved.
Don't fucking make the movie at all then. That's how you win.
Yeah. But they're probably already contracted for 3. Like Chadwick Boseman was probably on contract.
They've already said that it is not a certainty.
Well, I hope it's in any case, whether they gave the mantle to a different character or whether they recast, people are going to be mad no matter what. Like there was nothing.
And that's
and this is also a very good point, Matt.
John. My biggest problem with the movie is Namor, because he's not fucking Namor. He's Namor. But they had copyright problems. So they had to modify his story fucking to the point where he's not Namor.
But remember that hot tip from Jay from Drunk 3PO on Twitter that if you mispronounce a character name in a review video, you'll get comments galore, and comments are still interaction.
So that's actually my biggest problem with the movie. And the other problem is I just don't give a shit about the other part because I don't like them switching up the character like that. I don't like it. Like I said, you could have recast it if you'd waited some time. That's how you get past that, because I mean, he didn't die that long ago. So that's still pretty fresh in the
Pretty
public's
fresh.
memory. Now you still may take a beating for it. That's possible. I don't know. But this movie has taken a beating both
No matter
critically
what.
and from the audience anyway. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fingers crossed for Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, no shit. That and Deadpool 3. I'm hopeful for that.
I worry.
There's not a lot else out there that I give a shit about. I know that they're making Iron Wars into a movie now instead of a Disney Plus series because it got too big. I don't know if that's going to be any good or not, though.
I worry
because
that I'm still, for the most part, I'm still mostly a fan of Ryan Reynolds, but I do think that Ryan is starting to go a little bit of the way of the woke. It's a Disney property. The fact that I've officially accepted that Hugh Jackman is really back on board. How much he'll actually be in the movie is still left to be said, but I no longer believe they're trolling us. I believe it's real now. That'll be optimistic.
As long as it gets an R rating. Otherwise it's a bunch of dad jokes and an old Wolverine.
I mean, if you want to see dad jokes, just go follow Logan Isle on Instagram. Those guys, I think I may have sent you a couple videos, maybe not. These two guys that just like sit on a dock in Lake Tahoe and tell dad jokes back and forth while drinking coffee. Like, just go follow that Instagram if you want dad jokes, because they're hilarious.
Good to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I'm about ready to wrap it up. I think we've kind of covered everything we needed to talk about today. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if I take next Monday off, I might not stream next Monday. So I'm not going to gain any momentum here. We shall
see. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Maybe Tuesday. Mixtape Tuesdays. And that's when we're both really confused.
Oh, Lord. It's like working with a child.
Yeah.
All right. As long as you're happy, that's all I strive for.
Once you get your cousin Eddie get up, then we can really get going.
Oh, I know. I need to get that. You'll see. You'll all see. Stop wondering what it's about.
And it's like nobody really watches this far through. All right. So what do you got going on this week?
Jumping on with Flaccid Phoenix at 7 Pacific Standard to talk about Andor.
Yes, the only 3 people that are actually watching.
The only 3 people that have watched it in the entire nation. And then Thursday, we got a big show coming up Thursday. We're going to be doing at 5 Pacific Standard, like always. We're talking
California
about
time. Space
Seed and Wrath of Khan. So the whole Khan beginning and end stories. And I think that's going to be a hoot. We have quite the panel built up for that one already. And I know it's going to get heated already because we have a lot of different opinions about motivations and authorities and all of the things. And I think it's going to be a really good time. So that's.
I'll just drop in and drop Star Wars quotes the entire time. Just to,
These are the droids you're looking for. God damn it!
Pull up the meme it's like the picture of Gandalf and it says,
"Oh yes,
use the Force, Harry," and then like Captain Picard quote like.
yes. So that's Thursday, and that's gonna be. Actually, I was sat at working at the computer of the Empire for about 3 hours today, putting together stills for that. So it's a lot. Mrs. of the Empire was not happy. Are you not done with that yet? No. And then that's pretty much it. And Friday, I don't know if Father Miller's going to be doing a show at noon. And Saturday, I will be on with PJ Maybe and the UK crew at again 12 PST. And that's
awesome.
What I know was happening this week. And I know it's going to get weirder as
nice.
the holidays go on because that's entirely possible.
Definitely gets weird. Yeah. Right. What? Somebody new just dropped into the chat. I'm not
Rain
sure.
or snow? I think it's snow. I believe it's snow. All right, Jacob.
Oh, the background. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So anyways, I've just been kind of plugging along with my standalone videos that seem to do much better than my live streams.
They are doing well. They're doing
traction
good.
is traction. I don't have anything ready for tomorrow, so I've already sort of failed on that. I was really on the fence of, do I want to just do a short video about Metallica, or we'll just do it in the live stream? Maybe I'll just clip the part from the live stream and post that separately. But Nothing on the docket for tomorrow, but the night is young, sort of.
No one knows.
Yeah, I should go to bed earlier than I do.
He
I always
should.
fall asleep on the
He
couch.
gets up very early.
All right. Well, for everyone that has been in the chat, Jacob, Matt, Zax, Jay the Deep Minded, thank you guys all for popping in, chiming in, and putting up with whatever weirdness we come up with on a random Monday evening. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and sign off. And yes, I might end every show by saying Merry Christmas because it's Christmas, damn it.
It is Christmas, damn it.
See you guys later. Have a good rest of your week. We'll talk to y'all
Later.
Be excellent to each other.